get your business off the ground and your life doesn't line up, if you value different things, then your behaviors aren't going to help you reach the vision and reach the goals that you want. And tonight's session is a Q&A following the session with the mighty Donegans on Monday night. They sent us an AI tool. Did you do it? For those of you that did it, please tell us in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, please tell us in the comments on YouTube and hit like and subscribe so we can get our content in front of more people, because ultimately it's the best business inspiration, information, and practical help that money can't buy. Why not? Because it's free, because of our lovely sponsors. More on them later. Lovely. Cassandra, you did the AI stuff. I've seen some comments in the support group of people that have found it super, super helpful. I found it's a little bit spooky, actually. I don't know what your experience was, Cassandra. I found it a bit spooky because I didn't actually tell it that much. I was just testing it for the Donegans. So I half-assed it a bit. I kind of dipped one toe in and I answered a few of the questions and I was like, oh yeah, it's all nicey. I'll play the Donegans game just to make sure that it works. I know it's going to be hugely helpful because I've done this sort of stuff many times over the years. And then I uploaded my document to ChatGPT and it basically read my fortune. Like it came back with a bunch of stuff. I'm like, how does it know that? How does it know that I'm disorganized and without a system, I'm going to crash and burn in 3 weeks' time? How did it know that? So yeah, would love to know, for those of you that went through the homework with the Donegans, please let us know how you got on. Well, Tracy, you never know. You never know. Life could get exciting like that, right? So let's get our share in the game here. And folks, now remember, we've got the Q&A function for those that are in the Zoom room tonight. If I did something terrible and didn't get to answer your question because we ran out of time, please use the Q&A function tonight in the Zoom call, and then I'll be able to answer your questions this evening. And we've also had a bunch of questions that have been submitted after the email that was sent out. So I've got a few to be going on with too. Couple of quick reminders from me about some announcements, and then we'll dive in, folks. I'd quite like to hear from Annette and George. Should we do that? For those that are here last Thursday, we had some big conversations last Thursday, didn't we? So I'd like to find out from them. So I'll give you a few announcements, then I'll get Annette and George on, and then we'll dive into the rest of the questions, folks. Just bear with me a second. I'm having a few Zoom-related issues. We'll solve those. Actually, it's not a Zoom issue at all. It's human error. Okay, there we go. Right, folks, give me a thumbs up if you can see where it says Side Hustle Experiment Q&A. Can you see it? Okay, very good. I wasn't sure if you could. Excellent. Well, let's keep rolling then. A reminder that this is a totally free course. Thank you to these sponsors: Councils of Camden, South Ribble, Brent, Chorley, Bridgend, West Berkshire, and Uttlesford on behalf of North Essex. They have sponsored this program for their residents, and they've enabled us to open it up to across the world. Please type in the chat where you are watching from this evening. And by the way, your living room does not count. I'd like to know sort of roughly on a map where you are. Don't need your postcode. We know that already. You told us that already, but just roughly in the world where you are. That would be super helpful. I would love to know. And for those of you that are in and around the area of Brent in London, we've got an in-person course happening on the 1st of December. It's nearly December. How did that happen? 1st of December. We would love to see you there. That event is on our website. You can follow that QR code. The team will post these links in the chat as well. If you haven't submitted a case study yet, folks, there's still time. We've still got a couple of weeks to go. We would love to know your story. We would love to tell your story for you, with you, to our audience and to our sponsors, to give them a sense. Because they always ask us, what sort of businesses do you get? And I go, well, all sorts. Literally, you name it, from life coaches to gardeners to authors to holistic therapists to experts in women's health. You name it, we get it. But it's really helpful if I can show a picture of your face and go, and this is George, and she started the Happy Hormones Club at the Rebel School, and we want to tell you her story because her story is going to bring a tear to your eye, and it's also going to blow you away. And she got her business started with us. These are the kind of people that come. Do you see what I mean? It just, the storytelling just brings it to life for us to be able to keep our courses completely free, which is what my desire is to do. Reminder that we've got live in-person courses happening in Scotland in the next few weeks as well. We're going to South Lanarkshire and Stirling. Details on the Rebel School website. Again, the team will post the links for us. And a reminder that that we're collecting feedback from you at the end of every Zoom call. And as you can see from the picture on the screen, at this moment in time, the fairies look alive and well, folks. But for every person that comes to a Rebel School course that doesn't tell us their experience and give us feedback, then one of these fairies will no longer be alive as a result of that feedback form not being submitted. So please save the fairies, folks. And also, as we get towards the end of the course, we are going to ask you a bunch more questions, and there's a reason for that. We are on a mission to make it possible for anyone to start a business. So if you tell us what worked for you and what didn't, then it helps us to be better able to help others going forward. And we are on a relentless pursuit to make it possible for anyone to start a business, guys. So please help us with that. I'll give you more details of that soon. I think that's all my announcements for now. Yes, we're going to go on to the questions as soon as I've spoken to Annette and as soon as I've spoken to George. So let me flip a coin. It's Annette first. Right, let's get rid of the fairies for a second. And thank you for raising your hand, Annette. That made it easy for me to find you. And let's get you on. Hi, Annette. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm great. I never realized the power of the sentence, oh God, I have to go back there again.
Love
And
it.
I've actually written a little thing in in the chat. Maybe you haven't seen it,
Not yet.
but it just said that, I've done a few LinkedIn posts based on that particular statement. And they
Fantastic.
seem to be, and I've also, and a newsletter. And in the newsletter, I've sort of done it on, also, obviously, as this week is Halloween, I've done it sort of Halloween themed as well, but
Nice.
I am naming the monsters and that kind of stuff,
Good for you, Annette.
Thank you. It's, people are reading it. I've also put my, the link in to download my lead magnet. Because I've got a 5-page ebook which I've written. That's my lead magnet. So I don't know. I need to check MailerLite and see if anybody else has downloaded it. Would be nice to think that people have.
Good for you, Annette. And I think, the thing for me is if you get a bunch of views on your posts, and then if you can see the traffic to your lead magnet, if you're getting traffic to the lead magnet, but they're not converting, then that's the clue of, okay, I need to strengthen the language. I need to make this sound even more exciting than it currently is.
Yeah.
Because when I see your lead magnet and
Mm-hmm.
the words and the pictures around it, the emotion that I need to go through, if I was a senior admin or an EA or a PA, and I see the text of your lead magnet, I've got to have the emotion of, oh wow, that looks super interesting. So for example, I might look at it and go, is there some more emotive language that I can use, like the 7 secrets that senior admins, EAs, and PAs wish they knew when dealing with strong characters in the workplace. Like it's the 7 ways to remain empowered in the workplace when you've got a strong leader, or something like that, or 5 ways to not be bullied in the workplace, or this kind of stuff that makes them go, wow, that sounds really interesting. That's exactly what I need. So if you're getting the traffic to the lead magnet, but they're not converting, that's where to put your focus. If you're not getting traffic to the lead magnet, if you see I'm getting 50 views of my post, but not a single person has clicked, I then go to where you're posting and say to myself, is it immediately obvious where the link is? Am I being compelled to click on this from here, or are they not joining the dots? So I think to me, remember, this is a numbers game.
Yeah.
And look, this is a very unscientific set of numbers that I'm about to give you, but I'm using them to illustrate a point. The numbers can go up or down, but I like to play the 10% game. If 100 people read your post, 10 people are going to click and one person's going to download. And I say that partly to manage your expectations, but also to encourage you to fill the funnel with more views than you think you need. Do 10 times the number of views, and then you're more likely to get the lead magnets, downloaded.
Yeah. Actually, I've also was it linked up or connected with the LinkedIn lady who I think was with she was on a couple of weeks ago, and
Oh,
she's
okay.
also just done a sort of a book on how, I haven't, well, ebook. I have downloaded it, not yet read it. So I will
Cool.
go
That's
through it and
love that
see.
you're putting your focus there, Annette. Good for you.
Yes. Yeah. I just want to see what else I can do and finish my website. Woohoo.
Yeah. Well, there's good news and bad news on that one. The good news is it's never finished, and the bad news
Yeah.
is it's never finished.
Right. Okay.
But the thing to me is, I think I love that you're posting. If you can combine the posting with continuing to like, comment, share those people
As
that are
well.
doing posts who are your target audience, and then find new senior admins to connect with, then
Yeah.
you'll be doing all of the right things. Then you'll be increasing your traffic, and then we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, and thank you for jumping on again. And just to let you know, Lauren spotted the same thing that I spotted. I bet some of you have too, which is the energy change that we immediately felt in you when you jumped on the call this evening. So something's happened over the last week, and good for you, Annette. I'm super proud of what you've achieved. And actually, isn't it interesting how finding a glimmer of something in your story can actually be something that unlocks the next stage of energy and confidence
I
and
know. Yes, I know. It's amazing.
power of storytelling and all that. Well done, Annette. And by the way, just on that, the story that you're telling in those posts, the reason why I think you're getting the views, and this is what I wanted to say to everybody, is that social media at times can seem bereft of authenticity. You know what I mean? When people go,
absolutely. Yeah.
really excited to have a training session today with, no, you weren't excited. You've just ran out of imagination of posting something real about it. What you're posting is something real, and therefore you are going to get more attention for that, because we're crying out for authenticity in a fake world. So good for you, Annette. More real people like you, please.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You rock. Okay, lovely. Right, is George in the house? I think I saw George. George is in the house somewhere. George, if you can raise your hand, that will help. I've got you. There we go. And spotlight. Is George here? Come in, George. Nope, she's gone. Oh no, she is here. I'll start unmute. There we go. Hi, George. You're here, but you're frozen. The tension is killing me. Who wants to sing a song whilst George gets the internet back? Amanda, you up for that? Sonia? Anna is. Great. The first emoji that I saw. Oh, we got you. We got you, George. How's it going? Nope, we've lost you again. You're back again.
Sorry, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. You're teasing us.
Okay, hopefully it works.
How's it going, George? No, we've lost you again.
I don't assume. Yeah, let me just move room, because I've got a feeling I'm a bit. I don't know why it's doing this, but you'll get me in the living room.
No worries. It's much clearer now. Thank you.
That's working. There we go. Okay.
There you go. That's all good. Right, George. Welcome back to the Rebel School.
Thank you.
When I have conversations like that, I'm always nervous if I'm ever going to hear or speak to them again. So, and I hate it when it goes really quiet. You have a really kind of an in-depth conversation, one that's laced with emotion, and you can tell how important it is. And when I never hear from them again, I get sleepless nights. So thank you for reconnecting with me and with us. It's so lovely to see you. What happened when you hung up the call on Thursday? What's happened since then, and what happened for you?
Yeah, well, like, do you know, first of all, can I just say thank you for last week, because it was such a shift for me, and hearing
Amazing.
everyone's support, like your support, Simon, and just that clarity to really narrow it down and focus on one thing helps. And then everybody's support in the chat, like, honestly, it was just I've thought about it throughout the last week, and yeah, it's just I can't even explain it. It's just done a lot for me, like, internally. Like, it's made me realize, like, people do need this, they do want this. I had some private messages of people saying, like, oh my god, I resonate, like, I've suffered with this or that. And I just thought, yeah, like, that is my why. So where I've had doubts, I'm just like so much more motivated.
Good for you. Amazing. And then from that place we can build. And I think this is the thing, folks, is that I got asked this question actually this week. Let's see if I can find it quickly, because it talks exactly to what you just said. It was something about what contributes to a successful business that helps people. Sorry, that was one of the questions. Another one was, I feel I possess all the characteristics and personalities to succeed, but I am not. How can I kickstart and move forward like it? And it's, to me, I think what you just said really talks to this stuff, which is you don't get to have it all figured out in one go. In fact, there's so many moving parts in business. There's so many complexities to it. And that's why we've done our best to double down on simplifying it as much as we possibly can, just so that at least you can take the next step and then the next step. And maybe you can see 3 or 4 steps in front of you. But after that, who knows? I've got absolutely no idea when you connect with an HR director or manager or an MD of a smaller business or a head of learning and development in a bigger company. I've got no idea what they're going to say to you. They might go, we've already do loads of this stuff, or they might go, no, we don't really believe in it. And you trying to hold it together whilst you get a response like that, and you go, and this is so important, right? So who knows what's going to happen? But from a place of possibility, and I know what the next step is, and sometimes it might feel uncomfortable, but I can take a deep breath and still do it. Even if I feel scared about something, I can still take that step. It just feels a bit bumpy. And here's the irony: the less fear you're going to have, the more times you do it. Like I said to you after the 10th time, it won't be nearly as scary. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, but the first 9 though, Simon, they're a nightmare. Well, that's okay. I'm scared of Halloween, but I still carve pumpkins. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. So well done for the progress that you've made so far. Have you got any questions in terms of what your next steps are? Is there anything I can help you? Because I know we had a chat about the sort of dialing down the fear factor. Is there anything in your mind that you go, here's the thing I'm not quite sure about yet, but I feel like I need to know the answer to this before I can pick up the phone or send the message?
Yeah. So I suppose, like, where I'm at the moment, I've really clearly defined my offer. I've got 3 workshops kind of planned out. So I've got like I'd call it an entry-level workshop, which is a 2-hour workshop suitable for all employees and HR managers, business owners, around like menstrual health well-being, some of the typical menstrual health challenges women have, the hidden conditions we often don't know about or speak about unless we've maybe suffered them. And then that's like, my plan for that is for it to be quite practical and for everyone to go away with a really clear action plan of like where they can get support and help. The second kind of workshop I've planned is more around like supporting HR, which I probably see a little bit further down the line. So initially, now, like where I'm up to now, I've got that. I did create like a really basic website. It's like not my best website, but I'm just trying to like knock perfectionism on its head a bit after what you said to me last week.
I
So
might have said that. Sorry about that.
so I've got the website, I've got my basic offer, and I'm starting to identify some people who I could maybe reach out to. So for example, like today on LinkedIn, I saw this post of somebody who has just had surgery for endometriosis. She shared it on LinkedIn, and the response on that post was massive. It's exploded, like other women coming forward relating to her experience. And I was looking at the job titles of those people commenting and the engagement, and a couple of them are like HR related and or in different businesses. So I'm starting to think, right, I'm identifying my audience. I've got my minimal viable product. How do I connect the two? How do I bridge it? Like, and how do I start to monetize it now? And it's that little jump, like to get my first sale, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And I think most people will get to that point with social media. You happen to arrive there now, and it happens. It's more likely to happen when you've got an idea of who your customer is. And I'm drawing a Venn diagram in my head now. I would normally draw it on the screen, but I can't trust either myself with this technology or the fact that none of you lot will start drawing pictures on the screen, which is what happened in week 1 or 2. You might remember. But like, just imagine this: you've got 2 circles. Circle number 1, women's health issues, in particular endometriosis and the other related conditions that we talked about last week. That's in one circle. The other circle is HR leaders, learning and development leaders, and MDs of smaller businesses. The decision makers, basically, who get in the training and development support for the company that they're working with, right? So that the overlap between the two is your sweet spot of a customer. So when you get an HR leader who is posting on LinkedIn about women's health issues in the workplace, it's like if you've got sirens and red lights in your living room, like this, they should be, you know, like got a lead, right? So your question, if I've understood it correctly, is how do we then take that like obvious red light, you know, going off and sirens and arrows pointing at the name? How do we get them into a conversation? That's the essence of your question, right?
100%. And then if I can just add a little bit more to that,
go for it.
I don't know if other people relate with this. It's that fear of selling it, and it's choosing your price point, even though I might have a bit of like an idea of like market average for that sort of workshop, even entry level. There's a bit of it's that mindset thing of like that conversation. And
yeah, there's loads of things in play here, and I think you're absolutely right to benchmark yourself, you know. And I think there was a question from James asked a couple of questions about pricing for his gardening business. What I'd say to James is exactly what I'd say to you on that one. If you hadn't have done what you've just said you've done, which is, you know, do the marketing information, I'll see what the market's doing, and I can chat GPT to get some benchmark sort of prices. And I can go, am I entry level? Am I kind of mid-range? Have I ever done anything like this before? I might be down the entry level end, but I'm doing a proper luxury product here. Like my service is top end, you know, and then might move the pricing up a little bit. Customers don't like to pay more. So when you go in at your price, if you realize in 6 months' time, by the way, you're going to, it's part of the process. In 6 months' time, you go, oh my goodness, I didn't charge enough. Most people don't. Most of us undervalue ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it's for confidence reasons. Part of it's because we recognize that we're new in business. But mostly it's confidence reasons and fear and stuff like that, right? But as soon as you get those customers, you say, hey, guys, just so you know, my price is going up. They're like, what? So I like to use a frame that says, in 18 months' time, if my business was still running, what would be the price that I would be charging for this stuff? Because that helps to inoculate you against the over-egging that early in business discount. So the prices in March 2027, what would my price be?
Mm-hmm.
That's my starting point. And I think what's interesting about B2B, business to business sales here, is the numbers can sound a bit ridiculous if you're benchmarking them against the numbers that seem like a regular number with me as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So I met like the first time I charged 4 figures for a 1-day workshop in 2012. The day before I was worth 550 quid. The day after I was getting charged out over £4,000 a day by the company that I was doing work with. And I'm like, I don't know what happened overnight, but how am I suddenly 3.5 grand more expensive?
Yeah.
That seems outrageous to spend 4 grand on one day. Are you kidding me? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But actually, like in B2B world, you'll find that for certain levels of leadership development, for example, that's actually quite cheap. It depends on the level that you're working at. It depends on the type of work that you do. And actually, most importantly, it depends on what the client's outcomes are. So, summary of all of that, I was talking to James and I was talking to anyone else that's thinking about pricing more than I was you on that, but George, and I think it sounds to me like you kind of know what the price is. I would just invite you to consider what it might be in April 2027 when you've been paying your bills and feeding yourselves and your loved ones and going on nice holidays for the last 18 months because your business is successful. What would your pricing be? And then you can intentionally do an introductory offer. You can say in the process of the conversation, which we'll come on to in a minute, you can say, well, the price that I normally charge is X. I'm doing an introductory offer because I've launched my new business. I've been immersed in this topic for 6 years. I'm an expert in it. I've got personal experience, both directly and indirectly. And I know this subject like the back of my hand. I know that's got lots of value. But I also respect the fact that I'm new in business. So my introductory offer is X. So I'd like to offer you this price for this one, but going forward, this will be what my normal pricing is. So you're sort of setting an expectation to begin with too. But really, and I think what I wanted to say to you was, and I'll talk to you about how to get them into a conversation in a minute. Once you're in that conversation, and I saw someone made a comment recently in I think it was in one of the sessions 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, when the Donegans ran their poll and it said, 66% of people in the room said sales is a necessary evil. And I saw someone else do a post saying, I don't like selling because it's being pushy. Like it really isn't. And I sort of had this realization a few years ago that I actually love sales. I absolutely love it. Right. And I remember rocking gently in my kitchen, like sat at my kitchen table. I had 2 Irish coffee glasses, right? One of them had a label on it that said number of sales calls made today, and a post-it note. And then the other one said number of sales emails sent today. And if I got an out of office or it was undelivered, it didn't count. So I was counting every one that I did. And I was using these things called Moshi Monsters, which my kids used to collect. So every time I made a sales call, a Moshi Monster went in the Irish coffee glass. And when the coffee glass got full, guess what? Irish coffee, yeah, which was it was a great incentive. However, well, firstly, it was haram for those of you that know what I'm talking about, and secondly, it wasn't great to be drinking Irish coffee at 10:30 in the morning. That was a slippery slope, George. Right? So, but what I would say is, there's something about measuring the activity that really helps. So that takes you out of the I've got to make a sales call. I've got to send a sales email. What if they say no? I'm really scared. It takes you out of that and it helps you to distance from the fear of doing it because I'm now focused not on the outcome of the thing. I'm focused on the activity that it takes to make the sale. Don't focus on oh God, I've got to make a call. It's like, well, actually, I've got to make 10, haven't I? That's what I'm going to focus on. And that, remember, you get what you focus on. So I think as soon as I started focusing on the measurement, it helped me to get over that kind of barrier that I was experiencing. I just hated it. I absolutely hated it. Alan did the same. He hated making sales calls. I think he said it on Monday. And I've reached this realization now that sales really is curiosity, listening, and solving problems. And if your product or service doesn't solve the problem, don't sell it to them. What you're trying to do here is not to sell them your course. You're trying to educate them and you're trying to help them understand their own problems so that you can mutually discover together whether you're the person to help them solve them. And that requires you asking lots of questions. It requires you listening to them and it requires you to be creative and with that sort of level of connection, help them solve the problem. So before we even get in the conversation, I'm thinking like, I just need to ask them a bunch of good questions, particularly in B2B sales, particularly when you're selling a service or a high value product. It works really, really well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to say to you on this stuff was the questions that you ask will be everything. And it might be that an education-based strategy is part of what you post, and it's part of what you put in your conversations. It's what you feed in, right? So you might say, for example, once you jump on the call, you go, well, how many women have you got in your company, and how often has it come up that women's issues in the workplace? Is anyone talking about it? Well, let me tell you that 65% of women in the workplace who ... experience X, Y, and Z. So you can ask a couple of questions, and then it's almost like education-based sales is, I'm going to teach you about a problem that you didn't know you had, and then I'm going to sell you an opportunity for a solution. So your questions will be designed to help you to gauge their understanding and what their need is. And then it will also give you a chance to go, well, did you know that? You might not know this because I only found this one out recently, but this is a staggering statistic. And actually, one of the reasons that I've developed the programs that I have is because of my personal experience, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Not just me, but family members too. And I'm on a mission here and I want to help. I really, really want to help. So would you be interested in that? So do you see what I mean? So it's really good questions, feeding in a little bit of statistics here and there, because it helps to illustrate the problem that your thing solves. And I think you're end up like, let's just dedicate the whole session to your business, George, because it's interesting. Sorry, guys. We're going to talk about George the rest of them or not. Right. So a couple of bits then. The first bit here is some different tactics that you can use to convert your eyeballs looking at their comment and then looking at their job title and going, ching, ching, right, this is my opportunity. I want to see if I can help this person, help this business, and then get my thing up and running, right? So what do we do? Gary Vaynerchuk, that is an American influencer. I don't know if you come across Gary V. He wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Okay.
Now, you don't need to read the book, but you're welcome to. I'll give you the essence of it. What he's basically saying is, or how I've interpreted this is, when you send a connection request to someone on LinkedIn, the mistake that people make, James admitted this to me the other day, but James is a very direct, I'm just going to go like a train, and he plays the numbers game. So he'll connect with 150 people every couple of days, knowing that 10% of those will watch the video that he's about to send them. But actually, he's realized that he needs to be a little more refined. What that basically means is, you find the person that you want to connect with, you connect with them. If you've got the chance to add a note, you add a note, but the note is nothing to do with your courses. You definitely, if you're going to add a note, or you're one of these people that likes to send a message when someone does accept a connection request, if you put any information about what you're selling in that note, it's already over. And the reason for that being, especially with HR leaders, they get hammered with sales calls and sales emails and direct LinkedIn messages and, gold users of LinkedIn that try and sell them stuff. So the jab, 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 right hook theme is basically saying trust build, trust build, trust build, trust build. And then you go in with a sales message. What do I mean by that? It means connection, add a note, drop a like, comment on one of the posts, share on one of the posts that you like the look of. Then you breathe for a day or two, and then you get your phone out. And if you're feeling brave, George, this is getting exceptional results for James, which is the old direct message LinkedIn video. And you hold your phone up and you go, hi, thanks so much for connecting. I'm working on a project at the moment, which is about women's health and helping people in the workplace to really navigate some tricky women's issues. I would love a 15-minute conversation with you about how I might be able to help your company, insert name. Send. Thanks so much, George, at the end of it or whatever, right?
So is that like a live video?
Yeah, literally. Like,
okay, I didn't know you could do that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, it's powerful. Like, think about when you get a sales email that comes into your email address, right? Whether it's in a work or a personal context, when someone sends you an email, when have you ever replied to the email saying, thanks so much, that was a really interesting approach? When does it ever happen on an email? It never happens, does it? James gets those messages every single week without fail. He'll get someone going, wow, that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you have to do it, but I'm telling you that's what I would do if I, because of course video is a trust builder, it's a trust accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
And we're curious, and we don't want a 5-minute thing. And also we're not doing you're not telling them anything about your business. You're telling them not the product, you're telling them why you want to have the conversation, not what's going to be in it. That's what the conversation's for. So just to recap then, you find, and the same for Annette, the same with any of us that want to connect with people where you know the job title and you kind of know the profile, or anyone that's an EA or a senior admin that's talking about bullying on their platform, then on the LinkedIn or whatever, that's a target audience. So what do? You connect, you send a little note, you like and comment on a couple of their posts, you wait a day or so, and then you go video. Or if the idea of the video makes the face that Lawrence made in the comments in the Zoom room with the I'm feeling sick about this face, then look, you do you. You don't have to do everything I say. You choose the bits that work for you. If it was me, I'm at the stage where I've sent some videos and it was really horrible. When I first did them, I sent 10 videos in one morning because James said it was really working. And after like 18 takes, I thought, you know what? This is killing me. I'm gonna do it I'm not going to record it to my phone and then send it. I'm going to go into the LinkedIn message. I'm going to press record and I'm going to talk now. And the pressure of that made me kind of get it right. It wasn't perfect, but it definitely shouldn't be perfect. In fact, if it is perfect, you've already lost. This is not about a polished thing for the BBC. This is about doing an authentic video, which can be when you're walking the dog or the cat, like whatever animal you want to walk. You can be out and about. You go, hi, my name's George. I would love a conversation with you about women's health in the workplace. That's my speciality from personal experience as well as professional stuff. And who knows, maybe I can help. Would you be up for a 15-minute call to see whether it's of interest to you? Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Yeah, I love that.
Really real and just authentic and new. And, I did 10 of them. I got 2 replies. One of them I sent to the head of learning and development at my favorite Premier League football club, former Premier League football club. So I got very excited. I'm like, I've got a business need with my team. But I was only doing it as an experiment. Boy, do they need the help. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that's the bit here. It's about going, right, person, connect, little know. I've got to build trust with them before I can sell, because know, like, trust. If they don't know me, they don't know me. They don't know who the hell I am. Why would I try and sell to them? They've got to like me first. How do I do that? Well, I authentically drop a couple of likes or emoji on their posts, the ones that I really like, and I comment on the ones that really pop and stand out. And where you've seen them, I reckon the first step for you, George, is where you saw their comment on the person's post that had commented on her surgery for endometriosis, and you saw a couple of people's comments. Just like, don't over analyze who they are. Just pick the comments that you like the look of that include your potential clients, and then drop a little comment and an emoji on that, so that when you do send them a connection request, they already know who you are, because they've seen a notification that says George from the Happy Hormones Club has liked your comment.
Right? Yeah.
And they go to themselves, who the hell is George from Happy Hormones Club? Then they'll click, that goes through to your profile, and then it's all about Happy Hormones and it's all about what you do. You're starting to join the dots. So now when they send the connection request, they're like, thank goodness, I was expecting you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So like today, I basically connected with people, but instead I could drop the comment and then do the connection, because then if they've seen that I've commented or like replied to their comment, and then they get my connection request.
Bingo.
They'll be like, she was on that post.
Bingo. Because then they go, why is she connecting with me? Oh, they already know that. because
Uh-huh.
they've already seen your notifications. It's like links in a chain. You've
Yeah.
spotted the first link, job title, subject matter of interest, first link. Second link is a like and a comment on their comment. Third link is the connection request. The fourth one is an appropriate, not like full on drop 20 likes. It's not about spamming their notifications. It's just about going, hey, I see you. I like the look of you. And I want you to see my name come up a couple of times over the next couple of days. And then I go, that's when I do the video. And if the idea of the video makes you feel like Lauren does right now, then you go, okay, well, I'll dial it down a little bit for my first few. I'll send a direct message on LinkedIn and we'll move on from there and see what happens. And like my comments with Annette on her lead magnet stuff, it's like, it's a numbers game. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to get, you know, this is not about going, oh, I found one. It's about going, follow, connect, like, comment, doing that for half an hour a day. So that every day you're sending 30, 40 notifications out. The more of that you dive into, the more likely you are to get the result that you want and get that first conversation over the line.
Yeah, that's so helpful. Thank you.
Welcome. Exciting. Good stuff. George, I love it. Keep us in touch. Yeah, let us know what happens.
I will do. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, George. Nice work.
All right. Bye.
See ya. Actually, there was one more thing. George, come back. Where are you? There was one more thing I was going to say. I forgot to mention to everybody, you got lots of really nice comments of support from everybody last week. Is there a way that people can get in touch with you? Do you want to post your website in the chat if you're interested in the issues that George was talking about, or you think you know someone that works for a company that might want some women's health related stuff in, training sessions in their company, or consultancy around endometriosis or other women's health issues? Do you want to stick your thing in the chat, George? And
yeah, I will do. Thank you.
Is that the best way they can connect with you? Is it LinkedIn or is it the website, do you think? What do you
I can put my LinkedIn in and the website. The website's got a form at the bottom of it, which I tested tonight and it's working.
Amazing.
Do that. If you've got like a recommendation for a business or a business that you're in, maybe you could pop it on there, or I'll put my LinkedIn as well. And thank you again, Simon, and thanks to everyone else for their support last week and this week. I appreciate it so much.
Amazing, George. Great job. Well done. Love it.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, folks. Anyone notice George selling on that? I'm sure she said to me she found the sales bit hard. Let's see that. Oh yeah, I'm just going to stick my link there. You can give me the details. Give me your comments. Yeah. Boom. Great stuff, folks. Love it. Right, let's have a little look here. Carol Ann, do you want to jump on and have a conversation? Are you feeling bold? You don't want to jump on. You don't want me to answer your question. Can you write them shorter next time? Because I've got lots to read here. Okay, the power of storytelling. I think I'm struggling with how to use my story and how much of it to tell. None of it really has bearing on what I do now. If I had become a therapist or something, maybe it would be. I'm a pet photographer. I've added that I'm autistic to my About Me page and will be doing some honest posts about my nerves around going to London on Monday. But I tend to keep my social posts quite neutral, perhaps. Okay, very good. Love that. And then there's a second one, Carol Ann, because you like to make me work hard. I don't mind that. Just where Simon was talking about sales calls, that's about helping people solve problems. I'd love it clarified for my very black and white brain. Is this just about just randomly contacting potentially interested people to sell to them? I cannot see how that sort of thing would apply to my business and whether these are the same calls I'd be making to say make local connections, i.e. groomers, pet shops, dog fields, and asking about them having my information or offering mutual discounts or special events, etc. Got it. Right, Carol Ann. I think I get it. Now, I'll answer your questions in reverse order, like some sort of medal ceremony, like the Oscars or something, right? So in reverse order, your second question was about the sales calls bit. For clarification, when I talk about sales calls, I'm talking about business to business. I'm not talking about you ringing people with animals that maybe want or might want photography. That's not that. There might be a text version of that, but that would only be to people who are already in your network, I would suggest. Sales calls will be exactly as you said, Caroline. Brilliant spot. Your sales calls will be for partnering in some way with other local businesses. For example, you could ring one of the vets locally and say, I'm a pet photographer. Have you got any deals with pet photographers that is of mutual benefit, where you could send me clients for photography and I could give you, a percentage of the sale or something like that? Have you ever done anything like that? Would you be interested in exploring that with me? What kind of stuff could I put my stuff on your notice board? Could you send something out in an email? Could you do something on your social media? That's the sort of, I've had these ideas. I don't know if any of them would work for you. I'd love a conversation with you about it. Can we chat? That's the sort of sales call I would mean for you. It's a business to business conversation. So you're right. Pet shops, veterinary surgeons, you've got them, groomers. Every single one of those needs to know who you are in your area, I reckon. Good stuff. So that was that one. In terms of your story, Caroline, I think which one to use, still struggling with how to use my story. I think to me, this is going to sound, it's going to sound a bit like a dad joke, Caroline, but I want you to stick with me for a second, right? What do I mean by that? I mean, because I'm going to say, like, tell your story through a lens. And the lens I want you to tell your story through is how you became a photographer and why pets. I like that. I think that, because then it might actually be that some other parts of your story naturally come out from telling why you became a photographer and why you like taking pictures of animals. Some of the rest of your story might come out, but it will come out through the lens of the business that you run now. So it will seem more coherent. Yeah. So, if I was going to tell your story, my process would be the same as Annette. And I think maybe write it out, Caroline, or talk into a microphone. You can always send us a version if you wanted to do an audio version and say, like, this is the story that I think it is. This is why I became a photographer. But the process I went through with Annette last week was I was really zooming in on the most exciting bit of her story first and starting with that. And it might be that maybe you've got a story to tell about a particular animal that you photographed that was a story. Like, I know you've got an award-winning photo of the amazing horse with the horse's head that's kind of holding itself in a certain direction. That's a brilliant story. Can you imagine getting a horse to say cheese for a photo? That's kind of what I do. I get animals to say cheese, except animals can't talk. So I got to find a different way to do it. And I found this really unique way of doing it. And the first time I took a photo of an animal, it was when my friend said to me, or my partner said to me, or my pet dog said to me, wow, you're really good at this. You should keep going. So there's probably a version of your story, Caroline, which is specifically about why animals and why photography and how it happened. And then you can include or exclude anything that you want that might be periphery to that story happening. Does that help so far? Have you got enough to go on for a bit? Excellent. If you've got any follow-ups, let me know. Cool. Right. Let's have a look at some of the others. Folks, if you've posted any questions in the chat, please can you repost them in the Q&A, because the chat's been going quick and I've been talking a lot. And it's already like midnight or something, isn't it? What time is it now? How are we doing? Okay, just having a quick look at YouTube. Hello, YouTube. How are you doing? What we got here? Herman's in the YouTube tonight. Okay, so a really good question from YouTube, from Multi-Tech Spec. Good evening to you. Listen to this one, folks. I bet this will resonate with some of you guys. Had a question on alignment. How do you keep going in the face of uncertainty, knowing that you have to keep putting in the work over time, but not getting any feedback from customers, even when attempting outreach? And how do you bounce back from crickets? I get it. I totally get that. I understand that feeling. Okay, so Do you remember the diagram with the heart, the love heart, and the 3 circles, folks? I always go back to that. If I'm not getting the results that I want, this is the same for all of us. This is like home. You go, right, have I focused on one product or service? Number 1. Number 2, do I know who the target audience is? And number 3, the action that I've taken, have I taken lots of action? So if you're getting crickets, my first question is, how many conversations have you tried to start? Because if it's less than 10, then like really it's 100 to 150 before you can go, oh, I don't think my approach is working. And the reason I say that is because there's an expectation gap for most people starting a business. How do I know that? Because I did it where I sent, I got invited to be a publisher by accident. A friend of mine said, my friend works for a council. They want a print. This tells you how long ago it was. They wanted a printed guide of something. It was the sports guide for a certain county in the south, right? And they said, do I know anyone that can publish? And I was in the early stages of business. The business that I'd started in 2003 wasn't going very well, and I was a bit bored. And they said, well, do you know any publishers? And I went, yeah, actually. Funny you should say that, because I've been thinking about starting a publishing company as of about 8 seconds ago. So I leaned into this idea of becoming a publisher. And the way that it works is the council would give me a lump of money, a few £1,000s, to cover all of the print costs. So it was a zero cost to me. Okay, so they were paid as long as they get their copies of this sports guide to be distributed across the county. They were happy, and they said, for your trouble, you can sell advertising space inside that guide, and we don't want any of the money. So I'm like, this sounds like a ridiculously easy deal. You're going to pay me about £5,000. I'm going to spend £5,000 on printing something. So all I'm giving up is my time. And I just need to sell advertising just to pay the extra costs of graphic designers and sales and stuff like that. So essentially, it doesn't cost me any money at all. Just got to get selling. Oh, it sounds easy. I like selling things. So I thought at that time, I thought I can do anything. Right. So I sent one email, didn't get a reply for 2 weeks, got depressed, and then didn't do anything else for another 2 weeks. And I'm like, I don't think sales. That's when I went, I don't think I'm a salesperson. And I started gathering all of that nonsense identity stuff. I'm not very good at sales. I sent one email and got crickets and got depressed and didn't take any other action. Most of the people that I speak to at the Rebel School over the years that say that their business ideas aren't working, it's either because they haven't focused on one thing, or it's because they haven't taken enough action. The size of the action they've taken isn't enough, because your marketing doesn't have to be fantastic. You just got to do lots of it, and then you'll get a result. The better your marketing is, the higher percentage you'll get of your results. So when I talk about the 10% game, my sort of rule of thumb, if I send 100 emails, I can expect 10 potential leads, 1 to 3 sales calls, 1 customer. If I'm excellent at targeting and I get the absolute right customer, because I understand what it is that they want and what their problems are, those numbers go up. Okay, so when I'm talking to multi-tech spec here about crickets, number 1, are you gathering enough crickets? Because if you haven't got a couple of 100 crickets, you've got no right to say it's not working yet. You haven't taken enough action. And I also know what often happens is that it takes too long to get crickets. You know, the silence is gathered over a period of 6 months. What I want you to do is gather the silence over a period of 3 or 4 weeks. So you know in 3 or 4 weeks that those 500 connections, they've just not worked. But most people take 1 year to 2 years to do it. And the expression that we use at the Rebel is fail fast and fail cheap. I've tried failing slow and failing expensive on all of your behalf, and I wouldn't recommend it. Right. So that's the first run through here, multi-tech spec, to avoid crickets. Let's just check. Have you focused? Are you focusing on the right target audience? And is the approach that you're using, is it working? And if you go, yes, Simon, I've sent 300 emails, I've done 500 LinkedIn connection requests, I've walked down the street with a sandwich board on me, and I've put flyers through people's doors, and I've got 10 partnership deals, and I'm still not getting any results, then I go, okay, right, the messaging isn't right then, is it? You've either got the wrong message, you've got the wrong product, or the wrong target audience, or some combination of those things. So then the next step is, well, maybe I need to try different messaging. Maybe I need to try a different target audience, or maybe I'm talking about my product or my service in the wrong kind of way. Good stuff. Okay. So, yeah, I reckon, Carol, I've seen your message here. So Carol is talking about rejection sensitive dysphoria, which means that you hate perceived rejection. Yeah, I really understand what you've written here. And when you've sent emails about collaborations, it has a disproportionate impact on you than it might on others because of that, right? So that means that even if logically you know that this is probably going to be a no, or you know that actually that doesn't matter because I got to do lots of these things, I understand that it's discouraging you because you're going, I have had an experience of this in the past, which tells me that this is going to be painful in the future, which discourages you from taking action in the first place. I totally get that. Let me think about that, Caroline, because what's going through my mind here is, and I bet you've had a go at reframing things a little bit, but let me have a little think about how we can support you with that in a different way. I'll come back to you on that one. Lindsay, crickets basically means the sound of crickets is the only thing that you can hear. You know, those grasshoppers, you know, that nice sound that you get in the summer. That's the only sound. There's no sound of people replying to emails. It's silence except for the sound of insects. Okay. I don't know why crickets, Jane. I really don't know. So I'm going to answer Amy's question now that's in the Q&A. Amy is currently on maternity leave, meaning that she can't earn any money until mid-January when my payments end. Otherwise, the government will stop paying me and I want free money. Yes, I get that. My question is, it's a weird old state of affairs, isn't it? Politics and that. Like, I wish I could change the law. That just sounds utterly nonsensical here. We will penalize you for taking action to feed your family financially. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We did have links to the New Zealand government. Let's see if we can get them on the phone. I'll send them a tweet tonight and see what happens. Let's find it's not Jacinda anymore, is it? Like, I feel like I could reach out to Jacinda. Who's in charge now? Heads will roll, Amy. Find out who's in charge. Right. So my question is, should I start trying to sell now as a mental health coach, knowing that I would be booking people in for January prime New Year's resolution time? I'm worried I would lose all my customers between now and then. Thoughts? I saw lose all my customers. Apparently, I'm expecting some success. Yes, I love that. Like I said, all of my customers that I'm about to get, but I may lose them. Well, that's okay. I think what you can do here is there could be a way around this, Amy. I wonder if there's a third-party account where you could take a deposit off of somebody that goes into some kind of third-party account that someone can hold for you that doesn't come directly to you. You can get them to sign a little thing to confirm that they're booking, and then their booking fee is X, and that goes into a third-party account, which doesn't come to you at all. And I guess there is another way of doing it, which is, we'd have to look into what the legislation says in the UK that's different in New Zealand to the UK, because in the UK, when we set up a limited company, it becomes a separate entity. So if I have a limited company, I don't take any money out of that limited company for me personally until I choose to. And I can leave all of the profit in that limited company if I want. So limited company could be your third party here. Because actually on paper, yes, you might be taking money, but that company is already incurring costs You know what I mean? It's got bank account costs. It's got graphic design costs that you're budgeted for, which means you're not going to take any money out until in the new year. So it's not coming to you personally. The other way, we'd have to look into whether that's possible, because there might be some small print about you being a director of a company, in which case we need to find a friend, a family member, or another business or charity or organization locally. That a charity might be another way of doing it. You go, right, we'll pay the charity 5% of every sale that I make in exchange for their admin and processing of my money. And obviously, like there's a trust element that you need to have with whoever you allow that to happen. My thoughts are, and my experience of all this stuff is, it always takes longer than you think it's going to. So, I noticed on camera a minute ago, like you got your hands full. There's a lot going on right now. And if you think it's going to take you 5 or 6 months to get up and running, then you might find that it takes 7, 8, or 9 months to actually get your first customer. But I want this for you. And if you start now, you can always go, wow, I've got 10 yeses. I'm not quite ready for this yet, but I'll keep them warm. At least you then go, as soon as you are ready to hit the ground running, you're good to go. How's that? Does that work for you? Let me know in the chat if that helps. Yeah, thanks for your insight, Tony. Like that to me, I just about know enough to get by about limited companies in the UK. Never mind corporate entities on the other side of the world. Not my area of expertise. You'd have to look into that, Amy. But that would be my way around it. It's not coming to me. It's going to that other thing. Find the other thing, and then you can move on with life and get selling. Yes, Alex, saw your message. I'll get those sheets to you. I have to find them. You might be better off get Paul to contact Anthony. He's the curator. If I don't get them to you before tomorrow, get them from Anthony. He's much more reliable on this, things like the administrative side of things. Okay, right. So let's have a look at the questions then. So, okay. Can you see that, folks? We should be able to see that about sort of nowish. Okay, so finance coaching then. Lordy. The finance coaching, the question, how do I automate my follow-up so I'm consistently following up with my prospects? That's a nice question. How do I get over this is a two-parter. How do I get over the hump of self-doubt and break through my mental barrier to ask people to pay for my coaching program? Okay, 2 nice questions there. I think like the first one, does anyone else think they need to automate anything? Stick it in the chat. If you're on YouTube, whack it in the comments for us. Is automation on your mind? Tell me if it is. I am curious to know. Okay, yeah, I understand. So automation is a thing here. Now, there's a watch out, folks. The watch out with automation is that we try and automate for a problem that we don't currently have yet. And what I mean by that is, in my world, I have wasted a lot of time on systems and processes for something that is nowhere near real yet. So it's understanding, are you at that point where automation actually solves a problem? Are you this is the watch out, you're procrastinating. Lots of folk do this. I spend my time on automating and trying to perfect my system. What I'm actually doing is putting off the thing that I should be doing, which is trying to get my first customer, or trying to get, a handful of customers. Because once you get 5, 10 customers, that's when automation becomes a challenge. Then you go, actually, like, this is starting to become a bit difficult to manage. Maybe I need to solve that problem. So I'm going to invite you to consider, is this issue of automation a now problem? Yeah, me too, Morgan. I get it. So is it a now problem? That's my first answer to the question. The second answer, a second part answer is, if you can look at me in the eyes and go, no, I'm not procrastinating on making sales, I promise. I've done loads of stuff. I've taken loads of action. Then when we've got to come up with a system and a process, I think the simplest, and I'm all for simplification, and our business is, where are we, 13 years old. Our business has just turned 13. It's a naughty teenager that needs to start behaving more like an adult. And we've been working hard on automating things. And we had this realization recently, we've got so many different systems going on at the moment that don't necessarily talk to each other. It's quite tricky to follow it. And if we didn't have people like Ewan in the team that knows his way around these things, we'd be in a right pickle. So one of the things that we're going to do next is almost go back and simplify everything. So the simplest thing that you can do is the answer to any automation problem. And I like free. I don't like to spend any money on these things. And you'll find, even the Donegans have been experimenting with free stuff. They don't like, even though 5 years in on the finance school, and they're having to pay now because of the size of the audience. But when they first started, they looked at the free integrations. So the versions of MailChimp, again, sledgehammer to crack a nut. Eventbrite, sledgehammer to crack a nut as event management or email stuff. You might find that MailerLite is a good one to start with, because you can get a lot of free stuff, enough free stuff to help you manage. But it's a reminder here that it's not a sales tool. It's about keeping in contact with your audience. So if I was going to be automating follow-ups, I'd be thinking about using a bit of software like ConvertKit or MailerLite. But this, folks, this does, and this is where another barrier comes in here. This does then bring out another challenge, which is your tech skills. Okay, so if you're needing to automate things, but your tech skill is low, then my invitation is to up your tech skill. And here's where the mistake is. You go, right, I need to automate everything. I found this platform called MailerLite. I'll log in, I'll create an account, and then I'll try and figure it out. And then 6 hours later, we find you sat on the kitchen floor, surrounded by chocolate, going, I can't get this thing. I don't think I'm cut out for business. I'm not very good at business. You've missed the step, which is the skills build. And these platforms have got really, really good skills build stuff, instructional stuff built in. But so many people skip that bit out because they want fast results. I just need to get this done. And I love that energy. I love that get things done energy. But we do need to educate ourselves a little bit on the process, which means we've got to sort of nail our wrists to the desk. That's a metaphor. You don't actually do that. And, watch the stuff to learn the skills, so that the time that you invest in that will save you the pain of abandoning it in 3 weeks' time because you can't figure out how to make it work. Okay, so the principles of automation are: simplify as much as you can. Part 2 is to communicate as best you can with your customers. Like, that to me is where you'll lose business, is if you're not communicating. So first thing that you can do immediately is have an automatic reply. The second thing that you could do using Outlook or whatever email client you're using, the program, is to organize those emails and stick them all in one folder. And then the third thing that you can do is set a diary reminder for once a week to go through those emails and respond to them, one-to-one. That kind of level of simplicity of automation might be enough for you to start with. But if you're getting 500 emails a month, then you might need a system. You might need to get a MailerLite in the game. Okay. Second question then is, how do I get over the hump of self-doubt and break through my mental barrier to ask people to pay for my coaching program? So without any other context on that one, I'm going to give you the magic word, folks. The life-changing word. It's a 3-letter word. Please type it in the chat. What do you think is the magic word? What's the 3-letter magic word, everybody? I'd love to know if anybody gets it. And I'd also love to know where my Zoom screen has gone, because it's just disappeared. That's exciting. Am I even online anymore? Who knows? Can someone wave at me? I can't see it. Well, there you go. Fantastic. There you are. Thank goodness. Right. So let's have a look. Let's see what we think. The magic 3-letter word. That is a really magic 3-letter word. No, it's not. Oh my God, Judy. Oh, I like that. It's not a word technically. Yet is LOL. That helps. Kevin. SOS, says Ben. Margaret Parker says, haha, that's not 3 letters, Margaret. Or are you just laughing at the thing? Now, Yusuf is joining us on Monday and next Thursday, Gloria. If you have a look at the Rebel School Instagram, you'll see Yusuf. The man has a velvet voice and he knows things about AI that most people don't. He's joining us on Monday. I'm so excited for that. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Has anyone got it? No, I quite like SOS. Quite like LOL. It's not any of those 3, Dot, but thank you for trying. Let's see if YouTuber is in the game. Awesome. We don't have it on YouTube yet. YouTube, come on, what's the magic 3-letter word when it comes to getting over the hump of self-doubt? My mental barrier to ask people to pay for my coaching program. I'll give you a clue. The answer's in the thing. The answer's actually in the question, as it often is, isn't it? We answer our own question. Yeah, that's the magic 3-letter word. Amanda, you got it? I'll stick it in the chat, folks. It's this one. It's the mental barrier. But they're saying, yeah, but I got a mental barrier to ask people to pay for my coaching program. This is how we get around this, folks. I want you to practice. Is there anyone else that struggles with asking? Is there anyone else that's having that barrier of actually asking for the sale? I bet there's a few of us, isn't there? So it is a tricky one, isn't it? Right. So the process goes a little bit like this. We start off with a why, what, how, which is basically I'm going to share with my client or my potential customer why it is that you need the product or service that I'm selling. So, for example, if I've got a food business and in my food business, I'm making food or I'm teaching people how to make food that's really healthy, that tastes delicious and it still tastes really sweet, but it's got no sugar in it. It's not going to send you to hospital. That sound familiar, anybody? Sonia's in the game, right? So let's say that you're Sonia's Healthy Kitchen and you've got your food business and you're in conversation with somebody and the conversation goes a little bit like, so are you aware of the health risks of sugar? Are you aware that sugar is one of the 5 white devils in food, along with the flour and the other stuff? I forget what the others are off the top of my head. Milk is one of them, isn't it? And can't remember the others, but you get the idea. Are you aware that sugar is one of the worst things that we can put in our body? Are you aware how dangerous sugar is, particularly to people from my culture? You are, but you still like chocolate though, right? You still like eating tasty food. Okay, well, this is what my business is. I teach people how to cook really, really healthy food and not let go of the delicious tasting sweet treats, but it won't send them into hospital and it won't end their life early. Would you be interested in finding out more about that? About how I could help you learn how to cook really healthy food? Would you like me to share a few ideas as to how I could work with you? That's one of my favorite sayings as a coach. If there's any coaches here, life coaches, therapists, hypnotherapists. So the process that I'm taking people through, and I think, this is the question originally came from someone's got a coaching program. So it is a coaching related business. If you're a coach or a therapist or a change worker or a counselor, a hypnotherapist, someone that's perhaps a fitness coach, life coach, business advisor, business trainer, yoga coach, yoga trainer, any of those sort of businesses, put me in the chat, or if you're watching on YouTube, stick it in the comments, right? I'm going to give you the process to follow. And it includes the magic word, right? Okay. The principles, great. There's a few of us. Love it. Thank you, guys. So the process for us, and actually this is a universal in my world, doesn't matter whether you've got a product or service, the universal truth is value first. Value first. The mistake that we make is that we try and sell to. We're not selling to, we're helping to buy. What do I mean by helping to buy? Well, we're giving them an experience of what it is that I sell. We're giving them an education about what it is that I sell. And then we're asking to see if they'd be interested in buying it once I've given them that value. So I've been working as a coach in a sort of side hustle context. I mean, I've been coaching since 2008. I was coaching before I even knew it was called coaching, actually. I became a coach in 2008. And then 2 years later, I realized it was called coaching. Anyway, as a side hustle, I was been experimenting with my own coaching practice on the side of Rebel since about 2021. And what I learned was the maybe I can help line. That got people in the conversation with me. So think about every one of you that have put a me, Annette, obviously, and Sonia, and Mia, and Emma, Michaela, and Dot, Maureen, and so on. Kim, Mr. Few, Bibiana, Nicola. Right. So all of you guys are saying, yeah, this is my thing. This is my thing. Right. So when you hear or when you read that somebody is having a challenge that your business can solve, your next step is to respond. Whether that's face-to-face or whether it's, over direct messages or WhatsApp or text or, in a private message on Facebook. So here's how it's happened for me. This is where I've got a few clients from. I've seen a thread on LinkedIn. I've seen a thread on Facebook that one of my connections has posted. And I see someone's responded to that in a really dark way that you can tell by the way they've written something, they're having a tough time. Okay. So then what I would do is I'd hit the like button and then I might do a short reply and then I'll send them a message if I feel that it's appropriate to do so. And I'd send them a message and the message would be really short. It would say something like this. I noticed in the comment on Facebook yesterday that it looked like you're having a really tough time. I'd love to help you. I've got a spare couple of hours this week. Would you like to jump on a call? And who knows, maybe I can help. And that's it. That's very different and I'm a coach and I would love to coach you through that because they get selling signals and they go, oh, it sounds horrible. It sounds icky. And it sounds icky to us when we write it too, doesn't it? Right. So we don't do that. We're just going to go, hey, look, I've seen a thing. Or when you're face to face with someone and say, look, you might not know this, but I work with a load of people. This is one of my other pitches. I spend all my time helping strangers. Sometimes I'd like to help the people that I care about, that I really know. And I care about the people that I don't know, but I don't know them. I'm helping strangers. Why would I not help you? If it doesn't feel right to you and it feels a bit weird, I totally get it. But I wanted to make the offer. It sounded to me like you were struggling. Maybe I can help. And then that's it. Okay. And then if they say, yeah, your next step is you arrange the call. And at the start of the call, you get the elephant in the room dealt with first. So as soon as they arrive on the call, and I learned this from Jamie Smart, and it really blew my mind because I was struggling to figure out how to ask for the sale. I've got someone on a coaching conversation, a therapy conversation, or whatever. And I don't know, how do I deal with the money stuff? It feels really icky. I'm there to help them. Jamie's advice was spot on, and it works for me every single time, whether they become a client or not. Here's the process you go through. The next bit is as soon as that call that you've booked in to help them, you lead the call and you say right at the start, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to ask you a few questions. And at the end of our conversation, if we both think we want to carry on working together, that there might be something in it, would you be interested in hearing some ideas as to how we could work together and solve that problem? Is that okay? And they go, yes. No one's ever said no. So what I'm doing is I'm telling them, I'm going to come back to you with some ideas as to how we could work together, but I'm not going to do it in this call because I'm adding value in this call. I'm going to tell you, but it will happen later if I think I want to. So here's the mindset shift for coaches and therapists and mentors and advisors and trainers and consultants and therapists and so on. The bit here is that your value first. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to ask you some questions to see if I can figure out what's going on for you. And if we both think it's appropriate, I'll come back to you with some ideas later as to how we could work together. Does that sound okay? Great. This is a confidential conversation, so let's get into it, shall we? What's going on for you? Tell me how I can help. Give me some context. And then you then park the money stuff, go full on serving them. You decide how long that conversation is going to last. Maybe it's an hour or an hour and a half. I'm not a fan of a 20-minute chemistry call, which some coaches and therapists use. Not really my style. I like to book an hour and a half. Like, let's get into it. And sometimes they get what they need in 15 minutes. Sometimes it's going to take much, much, much longer. But here's the mindset shift that changed for me. Once you get the money stuff out of the way, I can now focus on being 100% present and serving this person. And I get to decide whether I like them or not. Like when I'm coaching somebody, we're going to spend hours together. It's got to be an enjoyable process. You know, time is precious. And we've got to have some kind of connection here. It's got to be a bit of a click. I've got to enjoy working with them. And of course, they're looking at me going, who is this guy? Why is he wearing a goat hat? Do I actually want to have a conversation with him too? So we got to have that bit first. And then at the end of the service piece, we've then done like an hour and a half conversation. The next bit is, so I really love talking with you. I really think I can have lots of impact with you. How have you found today's conversation? Would you be interested in hearing how I could work together? There's a number of ways that I do it. Either we do it online, we can do it face-to-face, do it like this. Have you got a sense of what would work best for you? So I'm now kind of asking them questions about how the client's going to tell me what I'm going to write in my proposal. They'll tell me everything. I just ask the right questions. I haven't sold a thing yet. But I've gone through that process of starting a conversation, having the conversation by parking the money issues, serving them. At the end of it, I come back to them with a proposal. And at the end of that call, booking something in the calendar there and then before they leave the call, I'll come back to you on Friday morning and I'll take you through my proposal. We never send a proposal by email, folks. Never, 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 never. Because if you want to instigate crickets in your life, send a business proposal via email. It's called the flatline approach. And that deal was flatlining from that moment onwards. I've made that mistake so many times over the years. I do it because I'm busy. Yeah, there's quite a lot of information here, Annette, isn't there? Yeah, maybe I should write this down. Is this useful stuff? Good. So, Judy, when I do my proposals, I do it through the art of expressive dance. I don't write anything down anymore. I do send them the email over with it. I do send them an email with the proposal in it, but I don't send it in advance of the call. I book a second call with them a couple of days after we've had our coaching conversation. I book a second call with them there and then. So imagine like we've just done a coaching session. We've just had a lovely conversation. And then I go at the end of that, I said, right, I've now got an understanding of the kind of way you think might work for you. You're sort of thinking that maybe it's a short, sharp bit of coaching for 3 months, or you're sort of thinking that you've got lots of stuff that you want to work on. Okay, I get it. Are you free Friday morning? See you at 10. I'll send you an invite now and I'll take you through some ideas as to how we could work together. And then when we get on the call, I share my screen and I take them through it page by page and I ask them questions. I'd never treat my proposal like it's a finished, ta-da! It's a work in progress. It's 95% done, but I'm asking you questions about it along the way. Like, have I nailed this for you? Does this make sense to you? Have I missed something here? What do we need to add? And I'll edit it right in front of them, right in front of their eyes. Like, okay, let me just change that now so we got it right. And then we finish it off together. They give me a sense of, is it 1, 2, or 3. And this is the bit, this is a very long answer, is how do I get through my mental barrier to ask for a sale? This is the bit. But you can see the setup to it is really kind of measured. I mean, it's very clear the process that I'm going through at each stage. At the end of the conversation, once I've taken them through the proposal, I say to them this. I say, which one of these options makes most sense to you? Which one of these are you leaning towards at the moment? Which one of these do you like the look of the most? Which one's a definite no? So I ask them a few questions about it. And then I say, sometimes it's a direct ask. And I like a direct ask because that's the point. Right, would you like to buy, you like option 1 the most? Would you like to sign up to option 1 right now? And then you're quiet. And then you see what they say. And they go, oh, I need to discuss that with my partner first. Okay, just so I can help you have that conversation. What do you think your partner's going to say when you land this? They're going to say, how much? You know, and I totally understand that. I totally understand that. You've got to have a conversation. You've got to think about it. If you've got any questions to come back to me, then I'm here to help you. I don't want to push you into doing something if it's not right for you. But by that point, my client is usually excited about what the possibilities are because they've already had an experience of transformation, even if it's a small one. You know what I mean? They've already had a little shift. They've suddenly seen a glimmer of hope as to what they want to achieve in life. Okay, yeah, so I'm a big fan of co-creation. That's what works for me. What was the question? Oh yeah, getting over the hump of, so the magic word is the ask. So we had somebody, this is what I wanted to say to you, for those of us that are struggling to make the ask, and that process, perhaps we should do a separate conversation. Maybe one of our bonus sessions can be for coaches, and we'll coaches and therapists and stuff like that. I can share with you what I've learned along the way, and give you much more detail as to what goes in the proposal and what goes in those conversations. If you're interested in that, then maybe we can start a little thread in the support group and see how many folk are interested. Because I really love the subject. I find it so interesting, and it's a sales again. I just love selling. I love selling more than the actual coaching. It's become a problem. At some point, we've got to do the work, haven't we? So the asking bit, okay, cool, guys, that's great. I'll bear that in mind. The asking bit, this is a universal for everybody. Lots of people find asking for a sale difficult. So here's what we've got to do. We've got to practice the ask. Let me tell you about Liz. Liz came to our Newport, South Wales course, and she arrived wearing a pair of angel wings, so she stood out straight away. And the course that we ran was in the Victorian Market in Newport. And you go upstairs, and it's got glass and perspex in the roof. And it was a sunny day. And people have lived from Wales. Tracy, you can be testimony to this. The sun always shines in Wales. And on that particular day, the sun was shining. The sun came through the perspex, and then Liz walked up the stairs, and the light reflected off of her white angel wings. And I thought I was dead for a minute. So she was like, if angels started singing, and I was done. So Liz arrives with her angel wings, and I said, "Hey Liz, what do you do?" She says, "I do angel Reiki healing." And I went, okay, I understand the words, but not the order that you've put them in. Tell me more about what that is. And she said, well, I do a Reiki healing thing. And then because I'm interested in tarot and I'm interested in like a kind of alternative stuff, she says, I do people an angel card reading if they want as well. And I do these sessions. They're 60 minutes and they're beautiful sessions and everybody loves them. And I said, great. So why have you come to the business school? She said, I haven't got any customers. And I said, right, okay, well, let's solve that problem then. So there was about 30, 40 people on this course. Now, when we were talking about Liz's business, we were talking about value first. And she said, oh, I get it. Most people don't know what angel Reiki healing is, because the way that you looked at me when I told you what it was tells me that not everybody necessarily knows what it is. I think it's one of those things that requires a bit of education. If people have never heard of it before, I might have heard of the word Reiki, but I don't really know what it is. sort of get it, but not really. Like, what are you going to do? Massage my aura? Like, I don't get it, right? So I get that I wasn't necessarily her target customer, but that was a realization for her. She said, I've been selling, remember the why, what, how stuff? I've been selling what it is that I do, not why I do it. So she then said, okay, I get it. I need to change my messaging and I need to give people a free taster of what it is that I do so that they can experience it for themselves. And then they kind of get it. And I went, fantastic. So she went round to everybody on the course and she said, have you ever experienced the amazing healing energy of angel Reiki sessions? And everyone goes, no. And she said, would you like a free 15-minute session? And everyone said, yes. So it's amazing, isn't it? Like just by positioning it as a why and not a what. If you went straight in with, would you like a 15-minute angel Reiki healing session? Not all. Some people know what it is. I know some of you smiled. You went, oh, I know what that is. But a lot of people don't. If you went in, would you like an angel Reiki healing session? No, I'd rather stick forks in my eyes. That sounds terrifying. I don't know what it is. And I already thought I was dead 25 minutes ago when I first met you. So no, I don't want, whatever it is you're selling, I don't want it. And it also, doesn't it sound like a sales message when you say, do you want to have some angel Reiki healing? It immediately sounds like someone selling to you. And then our hackles go up, don't they? It's like, no, stop selling to me. It's like when you walk into a shop and someone says, can I help you? And you go, no, because I'm just browsing, thanks. It's the worst question that you could possibly ask in sales, except most shops, workers in shops will ask you that question unless they've been trained. Like the Body Shop, for example, other well-known fragrance suppliers are available. The Body Shop staff ask a different question. They go, are you shopping for anyone in particular today? That's their first question. Transformational conversation. They rinsed me for 55 quid for a Mother's Day present just because they asked that question. The other shops that we went into, then they went, can we help you? And I went, no. And I do the customary horseshoe around the shop with the kids dragging behind me. Come on, kids, this is all junk. Let's go. The Body Shop, though, they were like, are you shopping for anyone in particular? And then my little one goes, mum, we're shopping for my mum. And they're, oh, you want Mother's Day presents? Here, walk this way. And I'm like, oh, how can 40 quid for a soap? You're having a laugh. Anyway, I digress. So the question that she asks takes her out of the what I'm selling and into the why you want to buy it customer. Yeah, and that the questions that we ask, guys, this is really key. That question, that first question that you ask is really key because that changes the dynamic of the conversation. So her first question, have you ever experienced the amazing healing energy of Reiki and Angel? And people go, no. What's that? She said, well, do you want a free 15-minute session? Totally on me. I'll give you a little mini experience of it and then we can talk about it afterwards. When shall I book you in for? She got her clipboard out. When shall I book you in for? She does 14 free sessions over the next 3 days, 15-minute sessions. And not only does everyone love Liz now because they sort of come out of that vaguely floating, and they feel amazing. They've had this mini insight into who they are and what's in their immediate future from the angel card reading and all this sort of thing. People are having these amazing experiences. And then Liz comes up to me on the Thursday and said, I'm feeling really grumpy and it's your fault. And I went, why? She said, I haven't made any sales. And so what's the question I ask her? Well, did you ask? What do you think she said? No, I don't like to ask. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. Now I think I see the next part of the problem. So I said, Liz, you're in business now. Go ask. Because if you don't ask, you don't get. She said, but I find that really hard. And I went, I get it. But by the time you've asked 14 people, I think you'd have given yourself the training course that money can't buy, Liz. What do you think? And she went, so I have to go and ask people. I said, yeah. And it sounds like this. You say, hey, you know my angel Reiki healing session that I did for you on Tuesday? Yeah. Well, I actually sell those sessions. You can have that for an hour. Would you like to buy one? The price is normally £35, but I'm doing it for 30. 4 sales by the end of the day. But this is the important bit, because I know some of you are going, you're staring at the screen going, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, Simon, but I still hate the idea of it. Here's what Liz's approach was. And I think this was genius. Her thing was, when people said no, and this might be something interesting for you, Caroline, and for those others that find that rejection thing tougher, when people said no, she said, that's okay, I'm just practicing my ask. Okay. So the reframe for her that worked for her was, I don't have to be scared of them telling me no, because I have an expectation much lower than that. My expectation is that they will stay in the conversation with me for 3 minutes. And if they stay in the conversation with me for 3 minutes, then I've had another chance to practice asking for a sale. And that's the only reason I'm asking them, is to practice asking for a sale. I'm not expecting them to say yes. If they say yes, it's a bonus. So therefore, she had 14 wins. Like, she had 14 conversations that helped her practice. And she actually, she had more than 14. Let me tell you why. She went up to people that didn't even have the free taster. And she'd go like, literally, if it was on Zoom, she'd go along everybody her name. She'd go, Rebecca, would you like to buy an angel Reiki healing session? And you go, what? No, thanks. And she'd go, that's okay, I'm just practicing my ask. Ella, would you like to buy an angel Reiki free? So actually practicing saying the words, that's what we need to do, guys. You can practice on each other. You can practice on your friends and family. Ask them for money, see what happens. And if you're feeling mischievous, you could ask them for more cash. Ask the cat, ask the dog. Every single photography session that you go into, Caroline, I would like you to ask the animal that is the subject of your photo shoot. So your owner is paying for these, but would you like to buy your own set of prints? And when they just stare at you blankly, you say, well, that's okay, I'm just practicing my ask. And I think that's what every single one of us can do to build our resilience. If you think of like, how many times have you asked for something and been knocked back? If you haven't been knocked back 100 times, then that it probably still feels a bit raw. So my invitation is a couple of things. Number one, let's lower the expectation here and say, actually, I'm just practicing. I don't have to have it all figured out yet. I'm not an established business. I've not been running it 25 years. I don't have 15 years of sales experience. I'm right at the early stages of learning this thing called business. Therefore, I need to practice. And if I think of my business as a practice, then it doesn't matter quite so much if it doesn't go how I want it to every time. Maybe. These are some ideas for you guys to think about. Okay, beautiful. Alex says, Simon, would you like to give me £300? No, but thank you for asking. I like that you asked. Theona says, do you love kids' action figures? No, but thank you for asking. I used to. But these are good questions, guys. Keep them coming. I'm just catching up on the chat here, folks. Roxy, I hope you got something from the stuff that I've been saying over the last few minutes. Roxy says, I want to sell Pilates accessories and grip socks, but I'm very scared to ask /contact Pilates studios to offer my grip socks. What would be the best approach? The best approach, Roxy, I reckon, I don't know if this is possible for you. If you're able to go face to face, great. If you're not, let's at least get on the phone. And just try one and see what happens. And take a deep breath and do one. And then you can, a little bit like when I took George swimming for dad's swimming lessons, which are swim to me then. But I can't swim. Yeah, you can. But you're too far away. No, you can make it. And then he takes like half a pint of water in, and then we get out of the pool, and then we have a little sit on the side of the pool and have a little cry and a hug. And we have like, okay, let's try one more time, and then we'll go for hot chocolate. How about it? Like, you can break this down into little steps, Roxy. I reckon, and here's something, and I was talking to George about this, about de-risking, or another way of saying that is lowering the bar of entry. Because a lot of us approach business like this thing of, I've got to go in up here and get my first partnership deal. No, you haven't. Have a conversation with somebody that likes Pilates. Because I think, like, here's something to consider for you, Roxy, is what if there's somebody that's in your network, that somebody who knows somebody that goes to Pilates class, and you say to them, "Oh, I'm selling Pilates accessories. Do you think the instructor would be up for a conversation about how we could do a partnership deal? Could you introduce me?" You know, you could do a little practice on somebody you know. Or another way of saying that is a soft pitch. Maybe there's a chance for a soft pitch. Maybe you know someone in Pilates world. You can say, "Look, I'm not selling anything to you, but can I test my pitch out on you before I go and talk to strangers?" To me, the soft sell is a really, really lovely way of pitching, because it gets you practicing, and sometimes you'll make a sale, even though you've said the words, "I'm not selling to you." I think I might have told you the story of the artist in Hartlepool that did a soft pitch to her old boss. And she went, "I'm not selling anything to you, but before I sell to strangers, can I tell you about the art, the bespoke landscapes that I'm doing?" And he ended up buying one for 500 quid, even though that wasn't her intention. She, "Oh, I don't want to sell to you." No, 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 not for you. As soon as you tell someone it's not for them, they immediately want it. That's the other weird thing. So beautiful. Anna from Rebel Team, please feel free to finish. I saw you were typing a message to Roxy. Please feel free to do that. I just saw one and I jumped in. Mel C says, "Hi, Simon. You did promise last time to answer my question tonight. Basically, how can I get a sponsor to sponsor my site? And what should a conversation with them sound like? My site is all about trying to help people experiencing loneliness and social isolation to find and connect with meaningful activities run by various organizations to support them." Mel C. Okay, let's answer that one right now. Yeah, sponsorship. Okay, so what goes through my head? So we've been thinking about this in sponsorship. I think we need to be clear on the type of organization that are most likely to sponsor. Okay, so the first thing I'm thinking about with your website, Mel, is I think it really lends itself, it depends on the traffic you're getting in the moment too. So if you're thinking of private sector sponsors, Mel, there are three main reasons why the private sector company might want to sponsor you. And I know this is of interest to at least one other person, so I'm going to keep rolling with this one for now. It's either because they want more customers, what we call customer acquisition, number one. Number two is for PR reasons. They want to stick their badge on it to let everybody know that they're a good company. And reason number three is social impact. Like in my world, those are the three main reasons. They want to do good in the world, they want to be seen to be a good company, or they want more customers. There is a fourth income stream for you, which might be really interesting, Mel. When we've had those conversations with private sector businesses, and this has happened to us recently, we've got a well-known food company that wants to play with Rebel, which is exciting. I can't say any more than that at the moment. But they want to send food, not to me, to you. And that was the first thing they said, is like, well, before we do like a full-on kind of sponsorship deal with you guys, we want to dip our toe in, metaphorically, not literally. And we want to get some food. And like, can we send some food vouchers out to people as a test? Now, that was an interesting one. The second version of that is an affiliate version. So you may be able to generate income from eyeballs. The more eyeballs that look on your website, then you can get a percentage of every sale that you make if you're able to find products and services that complement the audience offer that you've got, right? So you imagine you've got your website there. If 100 people a day are looking at your website, 700 people a week, which is 2,800 people a month. If 10% of those click through an affiliate link, then you've got potential 280 possible sales. And that actually, you know, depending on if you're getting the traffic, that could be a really interesting way of monetizing your website. I'd be thinking about that. In terms of public sector or third sector sponsorship, that's the other thing to consider here. Public or third sector sponsorship, which is saying basically, you're doing good in the community, the local community. I bet that there's a housing association. I bet that there's a community development bit of the council that might be interested in chucking you a bit of money to put their badge on it, because you're solving a problem that they're experiencing locally. And then there's a partnership element to that. So when you think about loneliness and isolation, I'll be thinking about people with disabilities, people that have got learning difficulties or mental health issues, the organizations locally to you that support people with those additional needs. They would be interesting conversations to have. And how would I do that? I'd find the job title of the person responsible in the name. I could send them a connection request on LinkedIn. I could send them an email, because their email will be publicly available on the council website. If not, you'll be able to figure it out, because it'll be firstname.surname@yourcouncil.gov.uk or whatever. Send them an email and you say, "Hi, Jeff." Only if their name's Jeff. This is just an example. That'd be weird if their name is Karen or Susan and you called them Jeff. That'd be weird. So you say, "Hi, whatever your name is. Hey, Jeff, I would love a conversation with you about how my project supports people experiencing social isolation in our community. Have you got 20 minutes for a chat?" And then you jump on, you tell them all about your project and see where it takes you. So I think those are the options that I'd be considering for you. Affiliate. The other thing about private sector, by the way, so if there's a good chance you're probably thinking, well, my website has got national possibilities, but before it gets national possibilities, we need to prove that it works. My sense is I would start local. If I was in your shoes, I'd be starting local. I'd be thinking, right, can I get this working in my town or city? How do I do that? I need to find companies that are based here that care about us, and public and third sector organizations that might want to partner with me or get involved. What a charity can do is send you traffic. The more eyeballs you've got, the more value the sponsorship is. So the charities can send you traffic. The public sector can send you traffic and potentially a bit of money. The private sector, I tell you who I'd be targeting. I'd be targeting local car garages, car sales, accountants, and lawyers. Small businesses, but decent sized small businesses in your community that care about their reputation locally. Those would be the sort of conversations I'd be having. Mel, thank you for reminding me that I didn't answer your question last time. Hopefully that's given you a nice comprehensive answer. Now, something to chew on. Let me know what you think about that. Isabella says, Simon, at the Rebel School, you mentioned something about an event in London that is happening soon. I was too late for a QR code. Oh, you've got the links. Thank you, Morgan, and thank you, Anna, for replying to that. Beautiful. What else? Alex says, would you like to give me £299? No, but thank you for asking, Alex. Good work. You see my negotiation tactic. I've already saved myself £7.50. You see, it's already gone down. Very good. Seniors as well. I saw, Lauren, your comment following up on Mel's business. Jacques, that's a reasonable question that you've asked. Jack says, for the benefit of YouTube, why is there a goat on your head tonight? The question I would ask you, Jack, is why isn't there a goat on yours? That's the question that comes to mind. Thank you for asking. It's a good question, isn't it? Yeah, it is a good question. What have I missed from here? Okay, so Simon Sparks, our YouTube resident artist, says, do I need much of a backstory as an artist? It's just how many years and as a hobby? Not really, Simon. Like, to me, maybe there's something interesting about how you ended up doing art in the first place, but not necessarily. Some of the art that you do, there's a story as to why you've chosen to do that particular piece of art. Like, for example, I dabbled in a bit of art at the weekend. The stuff that I ended up doing was as a result of something that happened a few weeks ago, and they just stuck in my head. So sometimes those backstories are enough. It's maybe there's a little story, a mini story, micro stories about the product or about that particular piece of art. You don't necessarily need one. But what I'm saying to those of us that have got one, if you're not using it, you're missing a trick for all of the reasons that we've experienced over the last couple of weeks. Okay. H. Dahiru says, thank you, Simon. I did my first ask here and my hands were shaking with racing heart. but I feel better now. I can promise you this, it gets easier. And by the way, going back to Liz, so after getting her first 4 sales of angel Reiki healing, she's then like the angel wings are now beating. She's like, I'm ready. This is amazing. Now my business is taking off. And by the way, she needed the cash at the time. She was living in a village in South Wales. She was pretty isolated. She didn't drive. She wasn't working. She had 2 young kids. She'd recently separated from her husband. The next thing that she did was she got on the phone and she said to her ex, she said, please can I have some money for our children? Because you're not paying me any money and you haven't done since we separated and I haven't got enough money to feed them. And there was silence on the end of the phone. And she asked 6 times, I think it was 5 or 6 times that week. That's why I say it's the 3 letters word. There's the most powerful 3-letter word. She got what she needed, folks. She got what she needed. Felt slightly awkward. Like, does he know where I live? Because that conversation cost him thousands. That's the powerful 3-letter word. And that's exactly it, Lauren. It's about confidence, isn't it? It's about confidence. It's just, and that's why I say to all of us, it doesn't matter how you practice or with whom you practice, just keep practicing the ask. Because we're beating ourselves up over, I'm too scared to ask for the sale. I find it really hard. Well, of course you do. It's the first time you've done it. So practice. You wouldn't jump into an Olympic swimming pool and try the 200-meter freestyle in the Olympics if you've never got in the swimming pool before. And I'm not saying that we're all trying to run Olympic events with our businesses, but you get the metaphor, right? So we've got to have a few swims before we get in the pool. A few goes, a few little splashes about. And that's all this is, really. Just reading Dot's question. Yeah, I think, Dot, to answer your question, I'm not going to read it out because it's super long. I've read what you've said. My approach would be, so just to give you the essence, folks, we've got a client that she's sort of left to go, like he's doing his thing. The client wants to just get on with his thing. She's sort of left it for a bit and she's saying, how would I follow up? Would I follow up? What would my approach be? I absolutely would. I'd sort of, from a human check-in well-being perspective, Dot, I just like, sometimes, I've got a client, someone that didn't become a client, but I did a couple of coaching sessions with them. I've known them for about 7 years. At the 4th year, we had a chance catch up. I ended up saying, blimey, that sounds really challenging, that point that you're going through right now. Look, I spend all my time coaching strangers. Would love to coach you if you're interested. Maybe I can help. Let's just book some time. No cost. It's on me. You're just helping me practice my coaching skills. I'm a coach, so I need to be coaching. And she went, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Did a great coaching session. We did a follow-up one again at no cost because I decided to. And then I did a proposal and she was so bought in. She was so engaged, Dot. She was definitely going to buy. Like, I would literally have put my house on the fact that she was going to be my next client. And I was excited to work with her because A, she's brilliant. And B, I knew that I could get a result with her. And that's what I'm doing in these conversations, these first coaching conversations. Do I like them enough to want to spend hours with them? Do I think that I can help? And do I think that this person is going to do the things that I'm going to ask of them? Because, this is a contact sport. If the answer to all of those 3 questions is yes, and I think they can pay for it, then we've got a coaching client here. But I was amazed. Like, something changed. She got cold feet and she went, you know what? I don't think I can justify the money at the moment. I've got loads from what you've already done and said. I think that's enough for me right now. I knew that she will come back at some point. And this is what I'm talking to you directly, Dot, here. She will come back at some point, not necessarily to me, but she will engage with a coach at some point because I know she's going to face the same issue again. But she, at that moment in her life, she had enough of what she needed and therefore she was empowered to make her own decisions. I definitely don't want to sell to someone who doesn't want to buy it. Even though I know that the thing that I've got, the service, my style, I absolutely know I could get an amazing result. But if I push something on her because I'm really good at sales, I'm saving up a problem for us both later. So my approach, Dot, is a slightly different scenario, but it's linked to what you've said. It's a question of, from a human perspective, not from a sales perspective. Yes, it is good business, but I genuinely care. So at a time frame that feels appropriate to me, and it might be 4 months or 3 months or 2 months or 6 months, it might even be a year. We go, hey, it's been ages since we've caught up. What's going on for you? And because I'm not doing a hard sell, and I never have done, she's genuinely taking my interest as authentic, not as I don't want to sell to. I'm not the right coach for her. A coach isn't right for her at the moment. I totally respect that. That's cool. But I just want to know that she's okay. Is she doing okay? And in your question, is your client doing okay? Let's just stay in touch. Value first. Sometimes people need a few interactions before they'll be prepared to buy. And that was something else that was fundamental I learned from Jamie. I was on one of his programs, this was my coach, Jamie Smart, a few years ago. I was on one of his programs, in about 2020. He said, type in the chat how many years you've known me. And it was amazing. People like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. And this was the first paying program that they had engaged with him, and they'd read all of his books, they listened to his podcast, they followed him on social media, they watched the videos, they've watched his free sessions, and yet some people had taken several years to make a decision to work with him one-to-one or one to a few. And that, I'm not saying that to discourage you coaches and therapists and change workers, but just a reminder that some people need more touch points, because change work, counseling, therapy, and life coaching, business coaching requires quite a time investment, and it also requires some very personal conversations. So for people to trust you guys enough to want to go there, that's why value first in particular is important for us in that space. Good. Yeah, Gloria, you got it. Ask again. Thank you, Theonis. Thank you for the reminder. Right, folks, I think we're there, aren't we? I've still got some questions left that have been submitted in the thing. I'm going to go through those to see which ones I've answered in tonight's sessions and which ones might still be outstanding. I will post the answers to those in the support group before Monday. I need to tell you about Monday, folks, because have a look at the Rebel Instagram channel for Yusuf. Now, Yusuf is what I would describe as an early adopter of AI. He was talking about artificial intelligence agents and programmed chatbots before ChatGPT was a thing. Right. So, and I just stared at him blankly and I went, what? What, you mean those insurance companies that ring me up from a robot? He said, no, I'm talking about something completely different, Simon, not insurance companies that send you these automated robotic voices. I'm talking about something completely different. And we were having that conversation a couple of years ago. And the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about Yusuf is we ran a course together in Stratford-upon-Avon about 2 years ago. And that course remains the single biggest impactful course I've ever run in 13 years. And it's because I was doing it with him. He is a machine. He's an amazing, lovely, smart, kind guy. And I can't wait for you guys to meet him on Monday. And he's going to hold our hands on an AI journey. Okay, now I know some of us go, like, I'm not really excited about that at all, Simon. And some of us are going, I'm already using it every day and it's amazing. And some of us will be somewhere in between. Listen to what Yusuf has to say on Monday and let's see if you've got a different view. I'm really excited for you to meet him. He's amazing. So Yusuf will be joining us on Monday night for a little journey into artificial intelligence. And that's it, folks. I'll see you on Monday, 8 p.m. And it's been lovely. And I feel like I've talked too much. Love you all. And by the way, I know there's one question I haven't answered, and it's Bibiana's. Bibiana, you're the first one that I'm going to do in the Facebook group. I think you posted a question on the email. I've just seen your name flash up. So If you're looking blankly, maybe it's not you, but let's double check. Folks, it's lovely to see you all. Have a lovely evening. Go home, why don't you? Thank you, YouTube. Click like and subscribe if you haven't. Remember, please fill in the feedback form as the call ends. Otherwise, Fabian will be driving to my house at 5 a.m, banging on my front door saying, Simon, you killed some more fairies. Thanks, everybody. Love you. Bye.